You can't handle the truth.
Hi, everybody. It's Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh, I'm getting this all wrong because I don't have my headset on, and I'm doing things a little different today, and I thought I would try this out. But anyway, it is August 26th. It's a Wednesday. It's August 26th on a Wednesday, 2026. So we got 2626. All right. You know, and the government told me, so I can't be wrong. Remember that, guys. And we always want to make sure that we're in touch with the government. They keep everything accurate. By the way, going over a little bit of yesterday's episode, and I may have kind of spouted off a little hard here or there. Hey, gonna be over on YouTube, and Brenda, good to see you guys. But I really want everybody to understand that it's actually getting worse. What I was talking about yesterday with the effects of the things going on in the world around us, I'm actually seeing that this is really leaking out. And I say leaking out, I think what it is this is what everybody's been talking about this undertow of feminists, the women who actually move into masculine, become the male, and work in that male role consistently over and over again. And now what we're seeing now is that when these women are working in the part of their brain or part of their ecosystem that they're really not good at being in there. They know they exist, but they're not really good at it. I am saying that I see that this is now leaking out and is actually just showing you what it's really doing to women. I don't want to make this this is not a male-female issue. This is not a Jim Price against women thing. This is absolutely just I care that we've really started to create a real epidemic or pandemic or systemic. I don't know what emic you want to make it. But when I see that this is what women are being driven to, when I see that this is how far that just not willing to go in and self-check, do a little self-discerning, do a little bit of questioning self, working on things like that. And I'm not a guy who grew up in the woo-woo, goo-goo shoes, blah, 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 like, feelings and all that. I never worked in that realm. But I do understand what being discerning and going back and questioning, because I do that quite often with myself. I have to. With this show, I'm constantly wanting to go back and check on things and make sure we're updating. But I worry that we do have a society that has no self-governance. There is no such thing as self-reliance. There's no such thing as self-correction. When we say we're working on ourselves, it means that we now just get to act out and then explain that this is part of something that has nothing to do with the situation. Where accountability and things like that are not necessary. And what I do appreciate, listen, I'm going to spill out some stuff here. This is just all my own opinion. I have no idea what I'm talking about. The Jim Price Show is not a medical doctor or anything like that. I'm just saying how I see things. I do really like the intent of a woman complimenting another woman who looks like a car wreck, whose hair, makeup, clothes are completely just as if they're trying to draw attention to themselves. And instead of saying, hey, what's with the hair color, or what's with the eye makeup, or hey, wow, you got a piercing in your what? There's none of that. Trying to it's always, oh, queen. And I will tell you, I love the cheering section of life that does that for you. But I want to be cheered for the things that I know that I'm doing well or that are to be cheered for. I don't want to be cheered because I came in last. I don't want to be cheered because I participated. I don't want to be cheered and lifted up because I shaved my head one day, or painted my hair purple, or put a piece of metal through my face somewhere. I don't want to be cheered for that. I want to be cheered for the idea that I brought ideas and questions and a conversation that moved the ball, moved society, got us moving in a direction of some type, right? And I want to go back to the compliment. The compliment is truly, I love that women have this inside of them where they want to cheer on others. And that's part of the mothering in them. But it's misplaced when it's not done with discernment. If you celebrate, and I try to do this, and I see a woman she's got her hair done, she's got her clothes, she's looks like she's trying to be, she's put effort into it, right? And right next to her in line is some thing that we're not allowed to name the pronouns of because, God knows that that's a necessity. Let's do a little zoom in here, see what that does. Oh, my goodness. Hi, everybody. And anyway, so I like to do this when I see a person that looks like oh, wow, look how they look like they've tried here, right? And they didn't do anything special. Their hair maybe just slightly pulled back, or, but they did put on clothes to go out. You know what I mean? And so I love that. I love that shirt on you, and man, great dress. Good job on that. And I want to, compliment the person who's standing there and deserves a compliment because right next to them is a train wreck. And these people have put a lot of money into the things that they have done to their body. By the way, if this was a cirrhosis or a cancer or something that was medical issue of inflammation and pH issues and all that, okay, that's a thing. I'm not making fun of any medical conditions. You have to go through a lot of processes to get certain primary colors, the colors in the 8-pack of crayons, that little 8-pack you get when you go to kindergarten. I always call that the primary colors. Those colors right there, well, they don't come in hair color. And those colors, you have to strip the hair out and then put that color in there. And it's a lot of money and a lot of time. And it's very toxic to the hair. But that it wasn't like they accidentally fell into some blue shit. What I'm pointing out is that we need to celebrate what we want to reflect. Okay? I want to celebrate the person who put the Eve into effort, right? They did a little work on themselves. You could tell, right? And I want us to start being able to say that we're lifting up by complimenting those things we see in the positives. Now, I'm not going after the people who want to color their hair. I think I did frosted tips back in the 90s. I mean, we've all done our thing, right? But when you see someone has lost weight, you're like, hey, man, doing good. Do you. Whatever you're doing, stay on it. Well, cancer's helping, whatever, sarcasm, right? But at the same time, when you see someone is changing or you see them moving, but try to find the places to compliment. And this is a management style of how to work with people, that you compliment the things that they do well, and you give them more assignments that they do well. And so they become better at the do well, right? And so they become more successful and they become more profitable to you. Now think about that as in a society. I'm just saying, if you see a lady or a man who's put themselves together, they got a certain style. They've actually got a style. And we all know what that means, right? That means that there's a style, like they're wearing linen top to bottom. They're wearing a nice blazer with a nice button shirt, not buttoned up because the blazers don't get ties. And if you don't have a tie, you don't button the button, guys, right? Maybe a pair of slacks or a nice pair of jeans with a good pair of shoes on. And man, looking good. Good job, man. And you see that there's a style to them. You see that there's a presentation to it. You see that they did something with their hair or whatever. Can we not compliment those positives? And then, in turn, then reciprocate that. Because when you compliment those positives, they want to hear that more often. So in the dopamine receptor of their brain, where we're all blown out from social media, you could actually just do it by saying, man, your eyes are amazing today. What are you doing? Detoxing? What's going on? Right? And maybe they're not. Maybe they drank an extra glass of water yesterday, and now you're going to make sure that they drink an extra glass of water every day. Or maybe they're going to start putting more salt in their diet. Or maybe they're going to get on something like Lugol's iodine to help with their thyroid issue. Or they're going to go into certain things and check, and start finding out what cayenne pepper and other things do for the body, right? All because you complimented them on that idea that they looked like they were detoxing, right? Oh, I have found the magic in coffee. I don't know. And I'm not a coffee fan, by the way. This is 8 ounces of coffee. I won't drink it all. I only drink about 8 ounces in the morning. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I do tell you this. I've gotten a little thing going here with Illy. Man, I tell you what, if Illy would love to step up and brand me as their brand for ambassador for Illy Coffee, I don't know if they could pay me. I think I would just be glad to do it. Anyway. So getting back, good to see Dave Glovin. Thank you so much for being here. But in the idea that when we see things that we like, we should compliment them. Thank you for that extra. I saw that you had to work a little harder to get that for me. Thank you so much. I did see what you did there. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you just give them that little bit of gratitude. But then they want to do that more often because that does fill up the dopamine buckets we're not getting out of social media. And let me line something up with you right now. By the way, the reason that you're watching me right now, Dave and Brenda and all the others that do watch back later on, the only reason you are actually seeing me is because you seek out my show. There is absolutely no reason you should be seeing my show. It does not come up on the feed. It does not come up on threads. It doesn't come up on the algorithms. It doesn't come up on any of that. And I know that. I know that to be a fact. But I also know that Twitter gave me back 2 followers today. I did not have any new followers on Twitter. I have no notifications of new followers, but I have been losing followers. Tick off, tick off, tick off, tick off. But now all of a sudden today, I had 2 new followers with no notification. So Twitter, whatever it is that I did, I'm so sorry. Can we get back together? Can we hug it out, or can I rub your feet, or what's the apology that Twitter? What do you do? What is it? A humiliation ritual I got to go through? What do we do to get so I can just have my Twitter back like it used to be? Yeah, what do I know? Oh, remember back when the old days of Twitter, when you would get on Twitter trains? Remember that whole Patriot Twitter train where you would get on there and then everybody would follow you and you would follow them? Remember the whole Twitter trains? Do you guys remember that? Does anybody recall that? It was about 8 years ago. 8 years specifically. I know it was really hot and going pretty hard. 2000, see, we're in 26. Yeah, so, absolutely 2018. Remember they were called Twitter trains. It was how you got Twitter followers. And just the average Joes were doing it. It was not an influencer thing. It had nothing to do with, people were trying to create a greater community in Twitter, but they went and severed all those connections, guys. That's how I lost all my stuff. I guarantee, that just popped in my head that way. I bet you dimes of donuts that what happened is because a lot of those Twitter trains is where I picked up followers and I had consistent views and all this other stuff. I'm just wondering if that's what they did. If people were on those trains and then they were able to make that connection, they just severed all of those because they did that on January 8th, 2 days after January 6th is when I lost everybody. That's when Trump got kicked off of Twitter, remember? The president of the United States was taken off of Twitter on September 8th. Do you guys not remember this? Yeah, that's a whole thing. See, there's a lot of stuff that I think we forget about how things have gone down and how much we are manipulated. I don't want to say that I'm that guy, that one guy on the ham radio going, I am broadcasting on frequency, boo. You know, I'm not trying to say I'm the last of the Mohicans or whatever, you know, desperate thing that sounds like. But I am on my third piece of nicotine gum today. But I will tell you that the idea when I say like, share, comment, so it can break the algorithm, guys, I don't even see, there are very few of the people that I know that I would say I listen to. That I would listen to. I don't see them on my feeds ever. I have to go seek them out. They're not coming across the old Jim Price show feed, Jim Price personal page, Twitter feed, Instagram. It's not happening. But I tell you what is happening is that you have to seek us out. And so when you guys think about the show, now here's what's crazy, right? And I've done this. I've thrown like $20 or $100 at advertising, like a certain show. Hey, this show seems to be okay. I haven't done it in a long time, but it does get me more traction. But the problem is I have to pay the algorithm, the gatekeeper, to let me go see other people. See, the good old days back when I first started out, and I had 10 million people on Facebook back in whatever it was, 19 or 20. But when I had those, that was all organic. I was paying like, what was it? I was paying like $20 a week to spread my show on Facebook. Only because I was trying to I wasn't doing it at that time. I was not in the influencer world at all. And the reason I'm having this conversation, guys, this has everything to do with social media and what we are seeing with the epidemic of children, the epidemic of women, the epidemic of men. It's all across every board, and they're all being affected in different ways. But the idea of how algorithms really work and how this all goes down is really fascinating. I was paying $20 to get new likes, to get new followers. So mine was about getting my page would come across your feed. I wasn't boosting a show. I was always just boosting the page to say, hey, come look at my page, like me, follow me or whatever, but it used to be a like, or whatever it was, or a follow. And so that's what if I was doing that, I would ask for follows. I wanted to get in front of new people that would then follow me. These are real Facebook people. This is not the India ones, the ones that are paid off and all that other stuff. No, that's not what I'm talking about. So when I was doing that, I was doing it because I was on the radio. I'm trying to get my spread, trying to get my network out there. And things were going crazy. And I stopped doing follows. I stopped advertising on that. And I quit doing that at all because I didn't think it was what I needed to do. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get a website, all this stuff. And I started working on all those things and really had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't an influencer at the time. I was a radio guy, just a radio only. But I did simulcasts on Facebook and on, who was it? I was a couple I could, in the 8 years ago, this streaming like we have now was very rare. The way a lot of people have cameras and stuff. But anyway, I set up my camera, probably this camera right here that I have 3 of these cameras. They were, I think $300 or $400 a piece. They were very cheap. They're really, like, trust me, when you look at 4K cameras, a little studio camera, this is a brilliant camera for whatever it was. But anyway, I set up the tripod with the beauty ring on it, and I sat there and did a little simulcast with Facebook while I was doing the radio, and so people got to see me on in the studio while being on the radio. And then the radio also, it was like a whole thing. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But back then, that was back when you could still do things without having permission. And here's something that has been absolutely perfectly clear. The biggest people that you know, the biggest people you follow, guys, they're made. They're not organic. They are not. They may have been in their infancy. And I'm, hey, if I all of a sudden blow up or whatever, check me, because I do want to be held accountable that somehow I didn't sell out for some reason. I do not want to sell out. I don't want to be a part of the Disney Club. I don't want to be a part of the whites, all white parties or whatever that crap is they do. But I do want to do this show, and I want to continue to do it. What I'm just basically telling you is that I've been trying to beat this algorithm forever. Once I started being an enemy of it, that's when they took my 10 million people away. I went from 10.2 million to 102,000 overnight. And then I started building it back up, and then they took the page completely away. It was hacked. It's still out there. There's 160,000 people still on it. They say, oh, you can have it back anytime. Here, just log in, and it never logs in, and then you can't get a person back. And the person's from India or whatever, and it's all very unfair. But anyway, the fact that you guys are listening, the fact that you guys are here is really just you personally wanting to experience our conversations we have. You are personally wanting to see the guests that I bring in. And that is absolutely the only way that this works, is that you seek me out. I find it very hilarious. On my own tablet, my computer, my phone, I will literally go in and I will have to tap out the Jim Price Show while logged into my own phone, the Jim Price Show, and then press search, and then it will finally come up. While I'm in my own account, the Jim Price Show. It's like, what in the... So anyway, the problem with it is that what we're fighting, guys, is this is what's going on with why we're seeing women do this baby killing thing. And now women are lined up outside in pink outfits to support her because her husband killed the kids, not her. Even though they have documentation of it, she admitted it, there's science evidence that it was. He showed that he had gone, she'd sent him on errands all day long, and that meant to do this the whole way, that she tried to jump out of the window on her own, and that the reason that she was laying the way she was is because she staged the whole jumping out of the window as if she was trying to kill herself. But yet there's a throng of women that are all on social media out in front of us, all wearing pink stocking caps. It's the middle of the summer. Pink shirt, pink pants, to say in solidarity that she did not kill her kids. She's innocent. This case is not about whether she did it or not. And that's whether I really, it's like you guys need to back off. But my problem is that social media has really changed things to where now we think we need to go out and do things because we want to be popular, and we don't care really what it is, and we don't care what it makes us look like, and we don't really care what it may bring onto ourselves. But these women are celebrating a woman who openly admitted, wrote it down, planned it out, there's a lot of evidence that this lady, it doesn't even make sense that these women are even lined up. But they want to be a part of something so bad because the algorithm doesn't feed them enough likes. It doesn't feed them enough of that, I feel good about me. I'm good, I'm this, I'm that. So they go and they get these groups together and they got their little signs and their little pink outfits and they think that they're doing something because they just want to. They just want to be part of something and they don't care if it's wrong. And we have a very misguided value system right now where this is really, I did not expect to have this conversation today. I was going to talk about voting the whole time, but this is kind of where I'm at this point. I will get back to it. But what I'm trying to say is that it concerns me, and I went on a whole long diatribe about this, but it does concern me that this is normalized, meaning that women got together, wore the same thing, lined up in a line outside the courthouse just to celebrate this woman who 3 years ago or 2 years ago killed her children. And this is her defense is even saying she didn't kill him. Her defense is not saying she didn't do it. But where are we going and where is this justification of this stuff, right? Where are we going to find ourselves if we continue down this path where women are not in their feminine and men are not in their masculine? We're now finding that women are just willing to execute their own children. Isn't that a problem? There's a cycle in the death of a society where the women start, or the female of that mammal group start killing the babies. And there's a whole science behind all this. And guys, we're rushing down a very amazing path, and I did not see this coming. I really didn't. And I guess I expected more of my fellow man, or just, I guess I thought I understood things differently. Again, I do get my breath taken away from the evil that does present itself in our world. And right here, I don't know how else to explain that, but it is right in front of us. So anyway, great comments. Oh, Josephine, good to see you. She's guilty of sin. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, says Josephine. And then Brenda, she was chiming in. Dave, there's nothing social about social media anymore. I can say that because I have 18 years. I have here for, yeah, I know. Well, and I remember back when, getting on Facebook was like, oh, you'd have a little pop-up friend request. It was like, oh, this is cool. Oh, cool. I'm going to put the football pictures up there. And I lost my personal page in this Facebook thing, whatever. And I lost all of my photos. I really did from when I got on in 2009. And because I was a football coach, I was tagged in a ton of football photos and wrestling photos and, different things that we did with all the kids. Cause we had 5 kids. So it was, there was always something going on. There was always a kid going to here, going to there. And thanks to Facebook, I lost all that. Now, that was my own stupidity, but I was tagged in other people's photos. And did I go in and download those and make sure I had a copy? No, because I thought, oh, I'll never lose my Facebook page. Why would that ever happen? I mean, I'm me, and they know that. I've got my cell phone IP address. They got my credit card information. They got my home address. They got my photo ID. I got all this stuff to verify who I was because I had already done all that with them. And they knew I was a real person, but they still did that to me. They still violated me. That's how they do it, guys. This is it's not a fair game, but it's like Pepsi trying to make sure your debit card doesn't work when you're buying a Pepsi product. That's kind of what it feels like. It's like you don't want me to use your product that I was very good at using. I was using your product, bringing a lot of attention to my location here, and then you booted me out because you didn't like it. But at Pepsi, I was selling a lot of Pepsi. Why did you kick me out of your Pepsi world if I do a lot of Pepsi? Does that analogy work? Anyway, so let's get back to we'll go back onto the news. It's just weird. I don't know. It just scares me about some of this stuff, how it works and things like that. But anyway, getting back to the news of the day, there is a few things, and I said integrity. Well, I guess that kind of lines up with this whole thing today. By the way, there is a horrible disaster in Nepal. I don't know if you've watched over the last few hours. There was a wall of water that went down through a gorge or a valley of area, and the amount of devastation is breathtaking. It scrubbed entire towns that were down in these gullies, and which, again, not telling you where to build your house, but, that water's been there before. And there was people that had built down in the flats, of the river. And and there was flood control. You could tell they had put in infrastructure, but the problem is that when that water came down, it just scrubbed all those towns gone. So if you know anybody in Nepal, or you want to put a word up, Nepalese, they are Nepalese people are being affected by this. I did watch horrific videos of this wall of water. When I say wall, I would say 100-foot tall, coming down a valley, and there was people coming up the valley and I watched people get swept away. And I didn't know what I was watching it. Like, I was watching it and I was like, what is this? Is this like, and then all of a sudden it was like, and then I see these people, and then all of a sudden this wall of water comes along. There was people getting out, but then the people on they were crying back to these people that got swept away, but the entire town was gone. So it wasn't just the people that were running up the hill, but there was this entire town that was getting swept away as well. And I watched a dam system that was being built where men were working on the dam. Their vehicles and trucks were being washed off the dam, and then where they were building up a bermed area to work on the dam, those guys were getting washed away. We're talking, they look like little bitty itty bitty trucks on the side of this, and they were being washed off. Anyway, just if you could kind of keep that in your mind, but it is a thing out there. Anyway, so a couple things, and I want to talk about voter integrity, and the reason I wanted to do that is, okay, real quick, Caitlin Clark's Fever Sky game was the most watched WNBA game since 1997, so this girl's being beat up on camera is actually making them a lot of money right now, so are we going to stop beating up on the white girl? No. Are we going to let guys play? Yes. Anyway. Violent crimes fell for a record at a record rate in Trump's first year in office, largest year decline since 1936. So 100 years, almost 100 years, we had the largest decline in violent crime. We had the largest decline in violent crime in almost 100 years. So, by the way, Trump said that he's going to turn Lake Ontario into Lake of America, and I think that's a fantastic idea. And by the way, names change all the time, boys and girls. I mean, they changed the name of Mount McKinley, didn't they? Or didn't they change one of those mountains up there? I grew up in the Phoenix in the valley, and what we called Squaw Peak, which was great. Everybody loved Squaw Peak. We called it Squaw Peak. Well, no, a Native American lady was killed because she left her convoy and then also got herself and others killed because they were trying to rescue her because she would not follow orders. This has all been heavily disclosed. I am not saying something fresh. But no, now they've named that Squaw Peak Piastawa Peak because this lady died, and so they changed it to that, and then come to find out that she was not a good soldier. And now it's even worse. What was Squaw is now Piastawa Peak, which is somebody who really served the military dishonorably. Anyway, it's just sad. It's a bad deal. And then, she was a single mom, and anyway, so it was just a bad deal. That was also when Pat Tillman went over and went into the Iraq War and was killed by friendly fire. They do say that it was friendly fire. They said he was shot by his own men, and that's also been heavily disclosed. What an amazing world we live in. Why are people so shitty? I mean, god dang. So, let's see here. I want to get into, Democrat senator stumbles into word salad after Anderson Cooper asks, what's wrong with ensuring voter eligibility? Like, whether they're eligible to be a voter. Why is that a magic secret question you just can't ask, right? I think maybe you guys would like to see this before we do voter integrity. We got much time, but we'll work on it here. Remember that lady who played Snow White in the remake of Snow White, and that she got all woke and told us that white people are colonists and all that stuff? Well, I guess she has an opinion that she would like us all to hear. And let's see. Actress Rachel Zegler wore a T-shirt reading "Ice Out of New York City" this week, drawing fresh attention to the National Day Labor Organization Network, which is, again, what we're talking about is the socialism stuff. I wish I know I don't wish. I do not. Okay, listen to me. I take that back. Oh my gosh, I take all the way back. I do not want to be this derelict. I do not want to be this. I really do, as much as knowing all the things I know and having the retention that I have, to be her, to be that, like, ice out of New York. Like, that is just breathtaking. That is, I get how you play make-believe. But she didn't do a very good job of make-believe, by the way. So, here's a quick, I don't want to do that one. Oh, Don Lemon whines that judge refuses to give convicted killer Carmelo Anthony a do-over. So Don Lemon, the guy who got fired from CNN, the black guy married to a white guy who says that white men are the reason that this world is a horrible place. Wanted the black kid who wrote in his own text messages and wrote in something else that he wanted to stab and kill somebody, stabbed and killed a boy at a track meet, and then Don Lemon says he needs a do-over. Starlink is on the way, Terrence Williams says. Very good, man. Let's see. Girl Scouts of America now offers Muslim badges. Girls, can you stop? Girls, listen. This is the Girl Scouts. Can you stop? You guys wanted into the Boy Scouts. You ruined all that. Nobody that goes into Boy Scouts is really anybody that you want to be in the Boy Scouts anyway, because they're not really boys, but now you got the Girl Scouts. But now your Girl Scouts are doing this, and then you go to your Girl Scout cookies and find out that they're made by a third world country. By the way, guys, you might want to do a deep dive into your Girl Scout cookies. Most of them are not even made in America, and they're not made in Switzerland. So look at what the slop that they're putting in the cookies now. They're not even good Girl Scout cookies anymore. They're not even the same. It's sad. It breaks my goddamn heart. Breaks my little cold little heart. I want real cookies. Why? That's it. Okay, that's it. I'm going to start making real cookies. I'm going to start making real things that I like with real ingredients, and I'm going to make videos, and I'm going to post it, whining and crying to Nabisco and all these other jerks that seem to think that a 3-ingredient Oreo or 5-ingredient Oreo that says flour, milk, lard, sugar, cocoa is too much of a hassle because Kerrigan or whatever that crap is and all this other bug juice they're putting in our food now. By the way, the Kerrigan is some kind of estrogen disruptor that they're putting in your body. So girls, if you want to get a little more crazy, look at what's on the side package of most of your candies now. It's a Carenen. Anyway, it's horrible stuff. Anyway. Spell check won't let me spell the word Indian woman. Was called by, it won't let you say squaw? Oh my gosh. Well, don't say squaw. Am I going to get banned off of YouTube now? Am I going to have a YouTube strike as I said that? Again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm only referencing a landmark that was in Phoenix, Arizona that has nothing to do with the Jim Price Show or any opinion. I don't know, whatever disclaimer I got to give you. So, going back to Soros-backed Philadelphia DA. The Philadelphia District Attorney, Larry Krasner, says that he wants to blow up the ballroom at the White House and then sell the fragments to pay back the American people for the money they spent on it. But doesn't he know that the American people aren't spending money on the ballroom? They're spending money on the 100 or more foot building that's underneath of it. We're paying for that as a security. I know that. I know the systems. I know what they're doing. But the ballroom is just a cap over it, you jackass. They're already there. It's a floor and a roof. There's nothing else between it. But anyway, he says he's going to go blow it up, which means he would be blowing up a secured facility, which may be a national security issue. But by the way, it's okay. This guy's just fine. He's the Philadelphia District Attorney. And he's saying this live at a rally. And he repeats himself at a rally. Okay. Sorry, I got to get to the vote. I'm about ready. I'm getting off on my other stuff here. Let's go down here. Down. Okay. Uh-oh. Did I lose it already? Oh, do you guys know who the country singer Jelly Roll is? Have you heard of this guy before? This guy went from this guy who just was a great big jelly roll, big fat guy who waddled around and happened to sing a few songs that got real popular real fast. And then these last couple of years here, getting out of COVID, some rumors and some things coming out about this or that and disagreement with another influencer or somebody or other. Blonde chick. She said he threatened to kill her. He said I didn't because I was going to kill her anyway. I wouldn't tell her. I mean, anyway, I'm just being facetious. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, Jelly Roll's lost a lot of weight. But then he went ahead and last night did a humiliation tour of how small his thing is and that he hadn't seen it and how small Trump's is and that Trump might like to lose some weight so he can see his again. So anyway, Jelly Roll has lost a lot of weight suddenly. He's got a lot of other little things going on behind the scenes. There's some legal issues here and there. There's a lot of accusations, a lot of Nashville mafia, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to shoot you, shoot me, whatever. Childish things you want to do on a weekend. But, he went ahead and did Jimmy Kimmel's show last night and decided he was going to go ahead and tell the world about his thing. I don't know. I guess that works. So, did you hear about the voter fraud police raid in Michigan? See, this is where right after 2020, I went out and created an affidavit for the full forensic audit of the votes for the state of Kansas. I had over 3,000 signed and notarized affidavits that I then turned over to a group in Kansas City that I initiated this process. I said, guys, I don't have a time to follow this through. You guys have got to finish this. You got to take it over the finish line. You got to file them with the court. You got to then get them in the clerk, get the clerk to file them. Then they're file stamped. And then you go into I just gave them I gave them all the process. And I got death threats. I was warned that I was on, there was a hit out, this and that. It was amazing how much vitriol where people would come at you for voter integrity, that you were saying, listen, can we make sure there's nobody touching our boxes? That's, isn't that the no-no zone, right? The whole don't touch me, my no-no zone. Well, don't touch my boxes. Don't touch my voter box, right? A recent FOIA request revealed more information about the Democrat-linked fraudulent voter registration group. There's evidence that it was widespread in Michigan and beyond. There are more than 104 packages filled with suspect registrations sent out to numerous clerks in Michigan in 2020. So 104 packages filled with suspect registration. So this is what they have. This is what the FOIA request has been released. So when President Trump addressed the nation on July 6th, he asked the DOJ to reopen the Michigan voter fraud investigation. Remember, this is still a thing. In October 2020, the Michigan State Police served search warrants on 3 GBI strategic locations in Muskogee Heights, Southfield, and Grand Haven. They conducted business like burn and turn operations because their jobs ended on Election Day 2020. High employee turnover required them. They run job ads continuously. It was a revolving door of new hires, more phones, more rental cars, more problems. Lost passwords, internal complaints about data that didn't make sense, logins that didn't work, phones dying after 2 hours, supervisors sharing passwords, syncs. Okay, so this is all of wow, okay. So the note detailed that 16 city networks in 5 states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, Iowa, and South Carolina, they had high turnovers in the organization and was very careful in how they wrote down and printed and described to staff. So they were running a great big cash fraudulent voter scheme, right? And that's what this is breaking down to. The technology helped them target areas with large amounts of unregistered but eligible voters, or areas where ballot influence is needed. Once the new city had been determined, they booked rooms at extended stay hotels and ran numerous job ads. They then rented a few minivans, got 40 to 50 phones, tablets, PCs, and set up software logins to the device. You know how much money this takes? And this is not something like you're going to, I'm going to go take over a district and go vote. Like, you got to have a team of people. You got to have a pile of money. You got to have, and who are you buying? 50 phones? Maybe if they're burner phones. That's still $5,000 in phones. That's $100 a piece, right? You're buying a phone, those little throwaway phones, and you got to have service. They were buying tablets and PCs. Again, this is where, like, when people talk about there was no voter integrity issues, and then this is what's being released from 2020, and we're in 2026, but yet this investigation was already shut down, but yet this was what was in the investigation. This is just the simple stuff. This is the top, this is just the top page. This is summary. But there was no voter integrity issues, right? There was no, when we talk about voter integrity, it's like, no, only voters voted. Okay, but now we're finding out that a lot of the voters weren't real voters. We're finding out a lot of the ballots weren't real ballots. We're finding out that people were printing ballots at the day of, on location. So again, when we talk about this, like, guys, there's some weird stuff going on here. Like how we're thinking that there's nothing going on. And if anybody in today's got to go, like, hey, listen, you guys lost 2 years ago, remember? Man, you guys will be big mad about voter integrity, right? But we're not. Why? Why is it that the Democrats are slow rolling this whole thing and they don't want it to cross the finish line? It seems to be the ones that benefit most from how things are don't want change. Those that benefit for how things are don't want change. Who's fighting the voter integrity, the Save America stuff? I don't know. It must be me. Hey, Donald Folsom, good to see you. So a deeper analysis of the operation could have collected more than 110,000 to 148,000 voter registration applications. That's a town. 150,000 voter registration. By the way, guys, listen. 1% of the total population of Wichita, maybe 2%. Of the total I think I can still 1%. Of the total population voted for Lily Wu to be our mayor. If you take the total population and how many people voted for her, and you go, and you go this to this, and you're like 1% voted for her. Now you see why 150,000 ballots or 150,000 new voters could really move the needle on some things, don't you think, folks? If 1% of the Wichita population voted for our mayor, what would 150,000 votes going your way mean to you in your campaign or your side? So, this is amazing. The GBI strategic locations, Detroit, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Holland, Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Benton Harbor, Flint, Inkster, Muskogee, Southfield. I don't know how to say that name. Then you get into Philadelphia, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Miami, Columbia, Charleston, Trenton. So Miami, again, they're still they're pecking away at Miami like a mother. They just love that Miami stronghold down there in Florida. It's breathtaking to watch. It really is. Hey, do you guys still miss that Florida legislator who used to wear the crazy cowboy hats and the bedazzled clothes and all that stuff all the time in Congress? You remember her? She was a hoot. She came up with some of the craziest bits and clips and things. I don't know what happened to her. All right, so GBA weekly payroll for canvassers ranged from $328 a week to $1,180 a week. So that's about, a little over $4,000 a month, right? Okay, $4,400, $4,500 a month. People working a 5-day week were paid between $820 and $985. There was a $50 or $75 bonus for working 7 or 6 days consecutively. During an October 14th call, a location was discussed for Philly suburbs. Pay would be $20 to $23. This is an entire operation of how they did it. And timesheets indicated most canvassers didn't have approval from stores to solicit their customers. They were likely kicked off the property of the 56 store departments. The average time on site was 96 minutes. One Citgo deployment on Ellis Street lasted only 18 minutes. But they were writing all this down. They were giving all the business, right? This is an operation. So, guys, a lot of times when we hear the things that they talk about and we say, well, this didn't happen or that didn't happen or, hey, well, that was long ago. Guys, these things that really do affect us, and there's things that we are living with today that really have changed our world, including the adoption of the IRS. And if you want to go back to the conventions of states and see how the IRS was adopted into law, you will be very disappointed, because the Secretary of State of America, the federal Secretary of State of America, went out on the front porch steps and said, we ratified it. All the conventions of states have now, and there wasn't. There was 2 states that did not vote it in, and so it was never ratified. So anyway, we do deal with things in a voting process, and we are dealing with that shadow still today, where the IRS is an extension of the Federal Reserve, not the American people. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Remember, the 10% we do for neighbor, community, city, county, state, the federal government, the more you do for them, the less they have to do for you. Learn how to be selfless and not so damn selfish. There will be a far, far better place. Remember, hold the line, hold fast. Do not give up. Do not give in. We'll win. I promise them. I promise I can't keep, guys. You've always been the answer out there. Remember that Constitution limits the government, but never limits you. Understand you have the authority. Do not give it over to anybody. You are God-given. You have God-given inalienable rights. You're not are. I'm sorry. You have God-given inalienable rights. You cannot give or take away. So understand that you can't give away your rights that God has given you. And it's guaranteed in the Constitution, as long as we're willing to enforce it, because it is our piece of paper that we enforce against our own government, limiting them and their access to us and what they can do and do not do for us. All right, guys, that's about it for me. I'm Jim Price, the Jim Price Show Daily Update. You guys all be good to each other out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.